Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to dive into a topic that's been making waves lately. Trump's big claims about explosive economic growth and how that stacks up against the massive $36 trillion US debt. Spoiler alert. It's complicated and history isn't exactly on his side. Let's break it down. So here's the deal. Some heavy hitters like Jeff Bezos, Larry Fink, and Trump's treasury pick Scott Bessent are all saying the same thing. If we want to tackle this enormous debt, we've got to turbocharge economic growth. Bessent even called this the last chance for America to grow its way out of the mess without turning into, as he put it, European-style socialist democracy. Big words, right? But before we get into the details, hit the subscribe button, like this video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. Fink, the head of BlackRock, jumped in with this election day op-ed. He's pushing for investments in artificial intelligence and infrastructure as the secret sauce for growth and deficit reduction in Bezos. Okay, well, at the Deal Book Summit, he laid it out pretty clearly. If the economy can grow by 3 to 5% a year, and we trim deficits at the same time, this whole debt thing could be very manageable. Sounds simple, right? But let's be real. Pulling off consistent 3 to 5% growth is easier said than done. Think about it. In recent history, only a few presidents have hit that kind of growth. And usually it's short-lived. Remember Bill Clinton in the late 90s, the economy was booming with more than 4% growth. And we actually had budget surpluses. Reagan had a couple of good years in the 90s too. But here's the kicker. Trump's situation is way trickier. His tax and tariff promises could actually add somewhere between $4, 1 cent trillion dollars and $15, 6 cents trillion to the debt over the next decade. That's according to budget forecasters, by the way. Not just me saying it. Now, Trump has promised a mix of lower taxes, more energy production deregulation, and even tariffs as a recipe for this explosive growth. He's also brought in people like Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy to help tackle government waste. It sounds ambitious, but here's the catch. He's also said he won't touch entitlement programs like Social Security and Medicare. Those are the biggest drivers of our debt, and they're projected to hit insolvency by the mid-2030s. And those tariffs. If we slap them on imports, there's a good chance other countries will hit back, which could hurt growth even more. Economists are saying it would take a historic economic boom, like 5% growth for several years, to make a dent in the debt. Tom Porcelli, an economist at PGM Fixed Income, flat out said you can't improve this with growth. But Trump's allies insist it's doable. They're talking about cutting taxes, deregulating industries, producing more oil domestically, and shrinking government programs they say are bloated. So Joseph Livorgno, former Trump economist, even believes Musk and Ramaswamy's so-called Department of Government Efficiency could save hundreds of billions of dollars by eliminating fraud and waste. Sounds great, but let's not forget, we've heard this kind of optimism before. Fiscal experts, like the folks at the Penn Wharton budget model, argue that we need way more than growth to solve this problem. Their research shows that real fixes would require politically risky moves, like raising the Social Security Medicare eligibility age or removing preferential tax rates for investment income. They even modeled a scenario where these changes could reduce deficits by 38% and grow wages and the economy at the same time. But come on, how likely is it that politicians will actually take on those third rails? One thing I found fascinating is how intertwined growth is with government spending. Kent Smetters, who runs the Penn Wharton model, explained it well. Most government spending is already tied to growth. Social Security benefits rise with cost of living adjustments, and Medicare costs keep climbing because of rising healthcare labor expenses. Sure, AI and other tech could make things more efficient, but they'd also introduce new expensive therapies that entitlement programs would have to cover. So what about Trump's 2017 tax cuts? Some Democrats argue that letting parts of those cuts expire could help. It might slow growth a bit in the short term, but as deficits shrink, the economy could actually grow faster over time. Trump's camp, however, is sticking to their guns, saying those tax cuts boosted revenue and that reversing them would hurt wages and families. At the end of the day, some of Trump's ideas, like making government more efficient, aren't entirely off the mark. But let's be real. They're small-scale solutions for a massive problem. Mark Zandi, an economist from Moody's Analytics, called it small ball. Even if these policies work, they're not moving the needle enough to fix the macroeconomic picture. So can we grow our way out of $36 trillion in debt. Honestly, it's a long shot. Growth alone probably won't cut it, and the deeper fixes involve tough political choices. But I want to know what you think. Are we overdue for some big changes, or is this explosive growth strategy worth a shot? Let me know in the comments.